Tzu Chi returns back to Myanmar to conduct its first mung seed distribution for the flood-affected farmers. European Tzu Chi volunteers attend the annual UNHCR meeting in Switzerland to discuss worldwide refugee issues. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Margaret Lin. Thank you for joining us. Back in July of this year, serious flooding occurred in Myanmar. Therefore, in September, Tzu Chi volunteers went and assessed the damages. This month, they headed over once again to conduct the first ever mung bean seed distribution to the affected farmers.
It's been less than half a month from the last disaster relief team mission. Taiwan and Malaysia's Tzu Chi volunteers are once again meeting in Myanmar to conduct a mung bean seed distribution.
There are many types of seeds, but there are not many good seeds. The average seed can probably only sprout 60 out of 100. However, the mung bean seeds from Tzu Chi is expected to sprout 90 to 95 or more.
Back in July, the floods in Myanmar nearly destroyed all the farmland. Therefore, in September, Tzu Chi volunteers went to investigate the damages. The predicament of not having any rice at home to eat was heart-wrenching. That's why, in hopes to beat the planting season, volunteers are distributing mung bean seeds to the farmers before the middle of November hits.
Their rice fields were flooded 3 times, but they can still have smiles on their faces. They're very optimistic in telling us each of their stories.
In addition to mung bean seeds, rice seeds will be distributed in February of next year. It's with great hope that these seeds, full of blessings, will be able to help the affected farmers once again turn their lives around.
In our next report, we continue to care for the Indonesian earthquake-affected residents. Some volunteer organizations went to the temporary shelters in Palu to care for the children's physical and mental well-being. In addition, Tzu Chi volunteers were also there to distribute hot foods. After a powerful earthquake struck Indonesia, aftershocks continue to occur. Since the houses were severely damaged, most of the residents in Palu choose to sleep outdoors. Tzu Chi volunteers have set up a care station. Many children visit here every day to learn sign language from the volunteers. When mealtime arrives, volunteers use the large cooking pots to boil the water. After the Jinsi instant rice is added, everyone counts together before it is done preparing. 1 minute later, volunteers stir the rice, ready for everyone to taste the delicious food.
It is very delicious. It tastes like fried rice.
The vegetarian instant rice can be quickly prepared with either cold or hot water, making it quite popular in the affected areas. In addition, some volunteer organizations also came to care for the children's physical and mental well-being. They have turned the temporary shelter into a camping site, where children have a variety of books to read and games to play with.
We transformed the temporary shelter into an educational and encouraging campsite. This allows the children to truly understand what is happening. Besides, we can also encourage them and teach them what they should do after such a traumatic situation has occurred.
The 10 camping tents have been set up outside the mosque. The outdoor camp setup is filled with educational concepts.
We also incorporate the camp with basic educational lessons, which is why we brought in teachers with planned courses. The other part is for us to accompany the children. Besides organizing camping activities, we also established a resources bank. This way we can teach them how to sort recyclables and ask them not to throw the garbage all over the place. Through education, we can help improve the environment of the shelters.
While educating children about the importance of environmental protection, it also helps change people's stereotypical impressions of how shelter camps are unsanitary places. It has been several weeks after the Indonesian earthquake and tsunami. The situation in Palu has gradually improved, but the Donggala area, which is one of the earthquake-stricken areas, is still in ruins. Since electricity supply in many villages has not resumed yet, besides distributing the needed supplies, Tzu Chi volunteers also brought solar panels. The truck carrying a load of supplies is traveling along the bumpy roads. Its destination is Donggala, one of the earthquake-stricken areas. After more than 2 hours, it finally arrived in the remote village. Among the more than 600 affected households, most of their houses were severely damaged. Rosny, who has lived in the village for nearly 20 years, said that this was the most devastating earthquake that she had experienced.
When the earthquake occurred, I was outside of the house. I saw my home shaking viciously, and then it collapsed. At that moment, I only thought about saving my 2 grandchildren. Fortunately, they only suffered minor injuries.
Volunteers brought the needed supplies, including instant noodles, dried foods, mineral water, rice, and hygiene products. Each of the affected households can receive 1 set of the supplies. In addition, volunteers also prepare large tents and solar panels so that the villagers can have electricity to use.
It was not easy for us to enter this disaster area because the roads along our trip were damaged by the earthquake. Despite the situation, everyone insisted on coming here to distribute supplies to the affected residents. We hope the aid can truly help them overcome difficulties.
After the earthquake, we thought that no one would come to care for us. To our surprise, many people came to distribute supplies today. We haven't eaten hot food for many days. Now we finally have instant noodles to eat.
It has been half a month after the disaster. Volunteers not only delivered the needed supplies to the affected residents, but also gave them hope on their way to rebuild their homes. Since North Lombok district was one of the hardest hit areas in July of this year, the government official in charge of this area visited Tzu Chi in Jakarta to ask for help in rebuilding the homes of the affected residents. In hard-hit Indonesian earthquake areas, the devastation in northern Lombok makes people feel as if time stood still the moment when a disaster occurred. Tzu Chi has come to provide aid supplies and care. The head of the North Lombok district traveled more than 1,000 kilometers by air to get to the Tzu Chi Indonesia chapter in Jakarta. He was received by the general manager of DaAi TV Indonesia. Later, they discussed housing reconstruction projects along with the deputy CEO and others.
Tzu Chi and other charitable organizations lent a helping hand to us in our time of need. They also came to help us with the disaster relief. The earthquake caused more than 57,000 houses in the North Lombok district to be badly damaged.
The briefing shows the DaAi village that Tzu Chi built for Aceh province after the 2004 tsunami. The affected residents not only received houses to live in, but they were also able to go to school, a vocational training institute, and church.
We should have at least a school in both East Lombok and North Lombok. We should also build a place of worship for them. If most of the residents in the village are Muslims, we will build a mosque. If most of them are Buddhists, we will build a temple.
The head of North Lombok district asked Tzu Chi to help build prefabricated houses so that the affected residents no longer need to live in tents. Volunteers will conduct site investigation and assess the situation for ongoing assistance. The annual UNHCR meeting gathering international entities to discuss various actions in protecting and resolving refugee issues recently took place in Switzerland. Germany Tzu Chi volunteers have long been caring for refugees living in Europe, also attending the meeting, representing the Tzu Chi Foundation. Let's take a look.
The UNHCR held a meeting in Switzerland with representatives from more than 125 countries, relevant organizations, and civil society participating. Germany Tzu Chi volunteers were there representing the foundation.
We have just learned that delegates will now discuss about the annual budget for the UNHCR, which is only about half has really been committed by the member states so far. So there's quite a significant funding gap in terms of the international community trying to adapt and mitigate the migration crisis. As such, it is very, very important that global NGOs such as Tzu Chi continue to play an active role in helping people on the ground and implementing projects to help to tackle the migration crisis.
Although many countries, when accepting refugees, will cause some heated debate and outcry, but in this world, there are still people in many countries that are willing to help out and accept refugees, because no one wants to be a refugee. Most refugees also hope to be able to go back to their homeland.
The limited humanitarian aid budget makes it difficult on Serbia. European Tzu Chi volunteers have been caring for the refugees for nearly 3 years now, and will continue to supply both food and needed supplies.
We have shown respect to these people by giving them clothes and showing our love and gratitude to them, and they were very happy to see that.
You wrote something on a piece of paper, on a piece of card, which was very meaningful. It said that those people who sow the seed of blessing for sure are going to harvest the seed of blessing too. So that's why I wish you all blessings. All right? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Laughter power comes from the spirit.
The spiritual support allows the refugees to find some inner peace. The Tzu Chi Foundation and the UNHCR emphasize the people-centered model and continue assistance regardless of race or religion.
In Taiwan, 77-year-old Wang Zhuyun is a devoted recycling volunteer. She has bladder cancer and needs to use diapers. Despite that, she still does recycling at Tzu Chi Recycling and Educational Station every day. One remarked that, being ill, she has learned the importance of seizing each moment. Therefore, she will continue to dedicate herself to volunteer work.
朱粉啊，看起来足少年，朱粉啊，足有活力的。
I run 6 laps, which is 2,420 meters. After exercising, I return home to take a shower and cook porridge. I usually arrive at the recycling station by 7:30. If I go late, I would have missed out a lot. I was diagnosed with bladder cancer when I was about 60 years old. My bladder, uterus, and pancreas have been removed. I use an artificial bladder now, and I need to use diapers.
By looking at her, we do not feel that there is anything wrong with her health. She is as hardworking as anyone else. She is working hard even though she has to use diapers. Therefore, people who are healthy like us should work even harder.
I do not feel any inconvenience. I change diapers when needed. I go home when it's time to go. I work when there's work to do. We should accumulate blessings and not wait for our negative karma to come to fruition.
She has been volunteering here for more than 10 years, and she is always smiling. She is agreeable, and she used to volunteer at the hospital with us.
I cook lunch after I'm done with recycling, then I'll take a nap. If I do not feel sleepy, I'll weave bags with recycled materials. I woven the bag I carry with me. I've also given many of them away to people. I am grateful to Dharma Master Zheng Yan for giving us the chance to cultivate blessings. I feel very happy volunteering every day. She's more than 70 years old and she suffers from illnesses. Despite that, we cannot tell that she's ill. She has given young people like us the strength to move forward.
She still volunteers diligently despite her illnesses. She comes to Tainan Jinseho every Wednesday to help clean up the place.
I need to go change my diapers. I'll go clean up the area over there. If I drink tea, I'll need to go to the restroom and change diapers. I'm very used to it. I think it is no big deal. I also work very diligently. I want to be ahead of other people instead of lagging behind. I often tell myself that I would like to do more work.
In China, a Tzu Chi youth recycling camp was held at the Tzu Chi Suzhou grounds. After learning about the importance of environmental protection, these young people also enter markets and parks to promote the concept. They hope to invite more people to protect Mother Earth together. These young people are on vacation. Instead of hanging out with friends, they work together to figure out how to save the earth. Some of them make posters, while others directly put on recycled items.
First of all, one of the difficulties is to string them together. They're in pieces, so we have to find some ways to string them together with eco-friendly materials.
The Tzu Chi recycling camp for the youth in eastern China was held at the Tzu Chi Suzhou grounds. During the 3 days, the participants had discussions and a lot of practice, and they even entered the markets to promote their ideas. They also went to the park to invite local residents to protect the environments together.
They felt that actually many residents had started to practice recycling before they promoted environmental protection concepts to them. They were deeply impressed by this.
Besides shouting slogans, they also take actions to invite more people to protect Mother Earth together. While old farmers may have toiled away in the past, relying on hard work and sweat, a new generation of farmers are using technology to simplify their work. Such technology has become more affordable for average farms. It takes on the usage of drones, which can be used for spraying pesticides as well as monitoring fields. Follow our reports as we learn more.
Here is a rice field in Tainan. This is the first rice planting. A special pesticide is being applied to prevent rice blast. Here we can see a black drone slowly taking off, spraying a mist from the air. In less than 10 minutes, 4 hectares of land can be treated.
One drone can complete this on one battery or about 10 minutes. If you did it by the traditional method, it will take longer, at least about 2 hours.
With drone spraying, one only needs to stand at the edge of a field to control its movement across the field, greatly reducing contact with pesticides. This is the main reason why Cai Zhongliang was attracted to drone spraying.
60 or 70 years old farmers, you can still see them carrying pesticides on their back and spraying the field. You can see how this is really difficult work.
Traditional spraying requires 3 people to work together. One person operates the machinery from the truck, while 2 other people in the field carry the hoses back and forth. Daily exposure to pesticides comes with a health risk, especially considering the aging population in rural areas.
It's not suitable. It's only a use to big farms.
In order to understand dispersion of pesticide more clearly, we visit the Council of Agriculture's toxicology laboratory. Here, researchers place the test strips at 4 different heights to simulate the crop from roots to the top of the plant. Later, the spraying begins. After the drone is done spraying, the results can be easily seen on this test paper, which has many small blue dots. This indicates the amount of pesticide distributed.
There's more on this side, and on the back there is less. This means that when it was being applied, it may have been affected by the wind.
To learn more, we may need to go back to the lab once again. The green laser light is used to analyze droplet spray. Looking carefully at the spray from the drone nozzle, it actually looks like a fog instead of droplets.
If the droplets can be fine enough, there will be more complete coverage, and it can achieve a better control effect.
Discovering the adequate amount for application relies on science, as this laboratory is studying ways to reduce the distance needed to apply pesticides. When agricultural labor is hard to find, technology can be a solution. All these green watermelons are being harvested.
We may lose 5 to 10% of the harvest due to pests such as rabbits, pheasants, or snails.
This 8-hectare area is planted with 21,000 watermelon seedlings. Covering such a large area, it's hard to see where these seedlings have been eaten by animals. The drone slowly takes off. It's about to assist farmers who patrol this watermelon field.
It flies at a height of 20 to 30 meters. Basically, within 40 minutes to an hour, the entire filming process can be completed.
Compared with traditional practices, which rely on manpower, the same process may require 2 or 3 days to tour the entire area.
We usually start at the beginning of each row and walk one by one to monitor. It's tiring and there's no way to do it well. If we have to do it again, it takes a lot of time and effort.
The pictures collected by the drone can be uploaded later that night, integrated into a single image through a farm management system. The key to this technology is putting these pictures together.
After the two photos are overlapped, the overlapping parts are deleted. This means that many overlapping photos will eventually look like one continuous photo.
As some of these plants get sick, it can be clearly seen in the photo.
For example, we can see here that this watermelon is already rotten. However, there was no problem on June 7th, but actually between June 7th and June 10th, the vine began to shrink.
Helping farmers find out what problems exist in the field can be done by comparing images recorded at different times.
We have to count them one by one as we walk alongside. We just walk and count.
This is the traditional way of counting melons. Aerial photography is also able to do this, which earned the praise of farmers, as they no longer have to go out in the field simply to count watermelons.
In just a short period of time, we can provide this technology which offers many benefits and saves labor, which lets these farmers feel it is very useful.
A new generation of technology is helping farmers by harvesting the power of science and technology to cut down on labor and time, providing immense benefit to farmers.
A community activity center in Taoyuan, Taiwan held a celebration of Double Night Festival, where individuals pay respect to the elderly ahead of time. Many adult children seize the occasion to practice their filial piety duties to their parents, warming their hearts. We will leave you with these images. Thanks for watching and see you next time.